Okay, what's up guys? Welcome back to the show. Timmy Foodie. Follow me on, go to my YouTube page, which is Timmy Foodie. I'm not sure what the actual link is on that yet, so we'll figure that out and I'll let you know. If you search Timmy Foodie on YouTube, you should find it. Go to timmyfoodie.com and there'll be a link there that you can follow if you need to, or you can find the link on my Instagram page, which is at Timmy_foodie. And yeah, if you're enjoying it, hit me up with subscribe, like, share it to your mates, tell people about it, and we'll try and get this thing going. The idea of this channel, I want to just start cooking the sort of food that I enjoy, or start showing you the sort of food that I enjoy to cook. It's not like overly fancy or too complicated. Sometimes it might take a bit of time to do, but it will vary. So I mean, today's going to be just a quick little breakfast wrap recipe that I do, and it's not really a recipe, it's just cooking some stuff, combining it into this delicious thing. So there's a couple of cool little things I do which I'll show you. The main thing we're going to need first off is a frying pan to cook we're going to do sausages and bacon, and we're going to do some eggs. But what I'm doing is I'm doing a sous vide on the eggs. So I've got this Anova sous vide machine that clips into a normal saucepan. You set it on 63 degrees centigrade and pop your eggs in the water, and it needs about 45 minutes as a minimum, but it can pretty much just sit at that temperature for a couple of hours, no problem. It will just hold the egg really nicely. I got delayed this morning faffing about with stuff, so it's been in there about an hour or so. So let's get this thing going. Get this on a little low to medium-ish heat. Hopefully the noise from this induction thing isn't too annoying, but it is a bit annoying. So first off, I've got some really nice thin pork sausages, free range pork as well, and the same with this bacon that I use. It's nitrate free range smoked bacon, and this is just really simple, just pork sausages. I get these sausages from Millen's Free Range Butchers, which is up in Balgowlah Heights in Sydney. It's my favourite butchers. I really rate it. Their food's, their produce is just really good quality. They're really knowledgeable, and they'll tell you all about the meat, where it's from, their suppliers, all that stuff. So they're really transparent with all that sort of stuff. So if you really want to find out about where your meat's coming from, then they're a great place to go to. They also do deliveries in a certain area in Sydney. So if you want to get your stuff delivered, then you can do that as well, which is great. So I've just got these kind of burrito grande wraps, which are just super nice, soft, delicious. We're going to just heat those up in the pan right at the end to make them a bit more malleable. But we can come back to that. We just need really, I'm not very well prepared, I do apologise. We need salt and pepper and your favourite sort of chutney, barbecue sauce, whatever you want to put in it really. I'm going to do 2 because I'm a fatty, and it is Christmas Day, so Merry Christmas everyone. So this is my little morning treat that I'm going to do today. I've got some Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce, although I have actually got my own homemade barbecue sauce that I made for the rib recipe that went up yesterday. Well, actually we're going to be a day behind, so technically yesterday was Christmas Day, but you know, whatever, it's all right. So I think that's everything we need. Super simple recipe. I mean, you can put cheese in it or hash browns or whatever you want, but I ran out of hash browns, which is very sad, but these things happen sometimes. What can you do? Just need a knife just to cut the sausages, because these might be joined up a little bit. So we'll just trim that here, and then these 2 are good to go. I probably only need 2 sausages, but we'll cook 3 because there's 3 left. So pop this over here, and just get this pan on a sort of medium-ish heat. We're just going to use a little bit of olive oil just to get things going, but you don't need much because some of the fat will come out of these things. Because these are quite thin, they're not going to take that long to cook. But you don't want to have the heat too hot because the casings will split. Just rinse my hands. Just whenever you're handling raw meat, just always have like, you know, a little sink of hot soapy water or just something like that to hand, just to kind of be able to wash your hands when you need to. But so that's just on there, real gentle. We're just going to do a little drizzle of olive oil just to kind of loosen things up, get things going. Get some tongs. It's always good to have, it's a pretty good opportunity to talk about some kitchen equipment. So I always have like a range of things, and you don't need a whole lot. You just need a nice range of stuff to kind of cover yourself off. That's always useful. So I'll just show you what I've got. So a good pair of little tongs is always good. I've got a bigger pair of those as well. Oops, they're a bit more heavy duty. So when you're getting tongs, just look for the quality of the bit at the top here. You just need something that looks solid, and you can get some real cheap ones. And if these move around a lot at the bottom, like I don't know if you can really see, but they just need to be nice and sturdy. So you just pick them up and have a play with them and see, and you can get a good feel for them. So it's worth putting a bit of money into, because if you get cheap ones, they're just going to break, which happened to me recently. The other thing you need, good stuff for the kitchen, slotted spoon like this. It's nice and big, great for like poached eggs and things. Metal spatula thing like this for flipping stuff in your metal pans. Then a similar one, but that's like this, like plasticky kind of heat resistant stuff that's really good for like your non-stick pans. Decent wooden spoon like this, and then another silicone based sort of spoony thing that's great for scraping stuff out of pans. So as a good range of stuff, if you've got it like that, then that really covers you off. Decent whisk and a big spoon that isn't slotted. It's kind of like this, and then a nice quality whisk. If you've got that as a range, you're pretty much covered off, mostly speaking. You can get like a ladle and some other different shaped wooden spoons, but if you've got that covered off, which you can get pretty cheap now, like you can buy cheaper ones, and I mean, they won't last as long, but you know, you go to your supermarkets, they all sell their own branded ones now, which aren't too bad. I mean, they're pretty reasonable. So as a good range of stuff, I think that's pretty good. And then with your pans, I mean, I have this is a Scam Pan non-stick pan. I bought this specifically because it's compatible with induction. But any sort of decent non-stick pan, I mean, the better quality ones do last longer, and they generally have a bit more resistance to scratching. But sometimes you've got to go cheap with them, and you know, it is what it is. But a good cast iron pan is also really good. So now what you'll notice I'm doing here, I'll probably do a proper episode where I go through all my equipment, what to look out for saucepans, a good range of stuff. We'll definitely do one on knives, because I'm completely obsessed with knives, so we'll definitely do that. So now what I'm doing with these sausages is, if you find when you cook sausages they curl up, the reason they do that, because one side cooks and it tightens and then it starts curving like that. But if what you do, once you get one side taking on a bit of colour, like as you can see there, turn it over just to the other side like this, and let that cook on that side. If you just keep doing that, so it only cooks a bit on each side, you'll actually find they cook completely flat. You just need to keep, as soon as it starts curling one way, just then rotate it round. So that's starting to curve this way a bit now. So I'll put that onto the uncooked front edge there. And it sometimes just takes a bit of forcing down, but if you just keep an eye on that, and we're not too hot, I'm literally on about a 4 on this induction, which would be a medium to low heat. Once you've got the heat in the pan, you can keep it pretty low, and we'll just keep turning that. See, that's curving a bit there, but we want to flatten that out, so I'll just hold it like that for a bit until it flattens out, and then it will cook like that. This one's starting to curve a bit as well, so we'll just generally you want it to curve, you want to put it onto the edge that's starting to bow up, and then just flatten that down. and once the heat starts coming into it, it will flatten out. And if you just keep doing that, once you've got some colour on all sides, they'll stay perfectly straight. So you just have to watch them, because the little buggers will try and roll out of their shape. So just keep an eye on that, and then once you've got some colour on all sides, they'll stay straight, and then you can just roll them about and just make sure they cook evenly. And yeah, pretty simple really. But a lot of people don't know that with sausages. They just curve, and then they're difficult to cook, and you end up with like the curved edge that won't cook on that face very easily. So it's better, and so you have to just do this right at the start and be really vigilant at the start with this to get them cooking flat. And often you can just prop them on each other to keep them from rolling. So you can kind of do that. And then see, there's a flat face there. We're doing pretty good. So yeah, that's generally what you do. And not a lot of people know that with sausages. I don't know why, but it just, yeah, anyway. So I've got some nice bacon here. This bacon's so good. It's been quite hard in Australia to find bacon that's kind of raw like that. A lot of it, it's almost like comes pre-cooked, which I don't really like. I think because in England we have bacon like this, so because I've grown up with that, that's the sort of bacon I prefer to eat. So I just think it's nicer. And then it's got a really gentle smoke on it as well, which is beautiful. So I think smoked bacon is the way forward. Any sort of smoked pork really is just absolutely great. So yeah, so I really like that. So this is going to keep going for a bit longer. Again, take your time with it. You don't want to go too quick. If you go too quick, you'll find the casing might split, and the stuff will lose out, and that means you're going to lose juice. So like you lose moisture from the sausage, which you don't want. So you just have to, yeah, keep an eye on it and keep turning it. If it starts to curve up one direction, just pop it like that, and then it should straighten out a bit. There, let you see I'm wedging it on each other. So yeah, so we'll just keep cooking that along like that, and give that maybe 5 or 6 more minutes, just keeping an eye on it, turning it, and then we'll get on to the next stage, add the bacon. Because I'm sous videing the eggs, they can just stay indefinitely, not indefinitely, but they can stay like that for a while and they'll be absolutely fine. In the meantime though, what we're going to do is we're going to get some butter, because I like butter. And what I came up with this really cool idea for these sous vide eggs, because quite often when you cook them, if I can find the butter, there it is. So quite often when you cook them, the white can be a bit soft on the edges. So what I thought was, when they're cooked and you crack them and you open them, which I'll show you in a bit when we get to that stage, I douse them in hot butter right at the end, because butter and eggs is just sensational, and then also because of the heat from the butter, it just helps to cook off that outer edge just a tiny little bit, and you get this awesome delicious butteriness. And so I've kind of put in about that much butter, so maybe, you know, I don't know, 2 reasonable sized chunks, and I'm just going to put that onto a real low heat on my hob over here and just let that melt down. You don't need much, so I'm going to just put that super low and just keep an eye on it, because you don't really want it to burn or do anything like that. So give them a turn. And so just keep an eye, once one side starts to kind of get, you can kind of see, can you see what I mean there? Kind of gets like a nice bit of colour on it. Once it starts to get to that golden brown colour, flip it round onto another side, and just put it on the side where you see is just more pale really, and that's starting to curve a bit, so I want it to try and flatten out. So we'll just flip that round, slippery little bugger. Put that to one side, that should flatten. Sometimes you've got to like find a good spot to wedge it into so it stays still. I might try and flatten this guy out a bit as well. And it doesn't matter hugely if it does curve up loads, but they just cook a bit more evenly if you can keep them flat, that's all. And you get a nice even crispy surround on it, which you won't be able to do if it's all curvy. So and this sort of sizzle you can hear, that's about what you want. You don't want it to go much more than that, and you don't want huge amounts of, you know, smoke and steam coming off the pan. I mean, the reason I do that as well is because I don't have an extractor fan on top of me here. I've only really got one over my hobs, so I just have to be a bit careful because I don't want to set the fire alarm off. So they'll just tick along nicely like that. So these are getting there, and then you can kind of feel, once it starts to be a bit firm and rebound a bit, you know it's starting to get close, but I can see from the ends there's still a bit of pinkness in there, so they're still going to need a few more minutes. I might just turn it down a notch now, just let that kind of chill out for a bit. We'll just check on the butter and see if it's melting, which it is quite nicely. So that can just do its thing. Now what I'm going to do, because obviously you can't really season the eggs when they're in the sous vide, you can, and I should say they're in there just the whole egg with the shell on, popped in the water when it's cold, turn the sous vide on, let it get to temperature, and then it just sits there. So then what we're going to do is we're going to crack it. I'm going to season that butter with some salt and pepper. It doesn't need a whole lot of salt because it's already salted butter, but I'll put a little sprinkle extra in, put some pepper in there, mix that round, and then we're going to crack the eggs into a bowl and just drizzle the butter over it, which is pretty awesome. We're getting close now with that, so we're going to start with the bacon now. That can just go in here, and then with the bacon, again, you don't need to go too hot. A lot of people go really, really hot with it, and you don't really want to do that. You just want it to slowly cook at this kind of temperature, and don't really touch it. You want it to sort of caramelize on that surface of it, and gratinate, I think they call it. And that will just do its thing. That's going to let out a bit more oil and stuff. So once that initial tiny little drizzle of olive oil, that's all you really need, because especially with a non-stick pan, I mean, you could really go without completely if you wanted to, but I find the oil just kind of gets things going a bit quicker, and that can just do its thing. And then just a lot of people will just do this and go away and not pay attention, but I really want the fat to go crispy. So if it starts, I mean, and you can slice the fat if you want to, but which does help to keep it flat, but you know, it's up to you. But I like to just do this, and again, if you, same principle with the sausages when it curls up, if you just push down in any area that you notice it's curling up, then it will eventually just flatten out and stay like that. It doesn't matter, I don't know if you can see here, this one's bulging up on the fat, on the meaty part, but that's okay. I don't want too much colour on that bit anyway, because that bit can dry out. We just really want the fat to be crispening and this bit to do whatever it wants to do, really. So we'll just keep an eye on that, pushing down any area that you notice curls up. And you hold it down for 30 seconds on that bit, and you'll just find it should just kind of then start to stay there. And these sausages, you can also see, once it gets to a good point, there's like juice kind of bubbling out the top of it, which is a good sign because it shows that the inside's really hot and it's like bubbling away, and you're getting close to everything being cooked in there. So that's another good sign of telling. And then we're much firmer and springier now, so we know that's pretty good. So yeah, they're looking pretty sweet, really. They're very close now. So you really don't want to overcook your sausages because they can go quite dry. I mean, you can oven a sausage as well, but I often find that it dries out when you do that. As long as you get the timing right, you can do it, but you just have to be a bit careful. I moved that bit of bacon because this side of the pan seems to be a bit cooler. See, this induction only hits a certain spot of it, so that just needs a bit longer. You can see the nice bit of colour forming on that side, but the fat's still not crispy enough for me. So, and this one is, yeah, look, see, that's what we want to see. I'll just see if I can show you that a bit closer. Can you see? I don't know if it's going to work, and I'm just dripping fat over everything, but you're getting this really nice kind of golden brown colour on the bacon, which is just on the fat especially, and on this bit as well. You can kind of see it's yeah, it's great. This one just needs a little bit longer though. And I mean, I might actually, these are looking pretty good now, so for the sausages, so I'm going to just pop these in here in the oven and they can finish off cooking. So the oven's on about 100 and I did say about 80 before, but I might bring it up to about 120, just so it's a bit hotter, so they will continue to cook a little bit, but they're not going to get overcooked. So what I'm doing here, because the other side, it will curve up a bit, I'm just pushing down on the fattier side of this, and that again, you see it's flattening it out. Yeah, you see, this is perfect. So that's going to go in here now. Just make some space for that. I'm going to turn this pretty much down to off. Shake off a bit of the excess fat, and that's just going to go into the oven with the and stack that bacon up on each other, because that's going to just keep it nice and moist. So this is our kind of melted butter. I'm just going to put some black pepper in it, because eggs and pepper are awesome. And then, like I said, because this is salted butter, I don't need to put too much salt, but I'm going to just put a little bit in, because again, eggs can take on a fair bit of salt. I'm just going to pop that to one side for the minute on something that isn't going to melt or get too hot. So now we've got our wraps. Now I want to get rid of this excess oil. So if you've got hot oil like this and you don't really want to just pour that down the sink, or you know, pour it straight in the bin or something, so just pour that out into a separate bowl. So I've just got a little bowl on the side here, and I'm just pouring that fat into it. You could use some of that if you wanted to, but I don't really want to use a whole lot of that flavour, because there's going to be enough flavour in this thing anyway. And we've got the butter that's going to be going on the eggs. So then I'm just going to paper towel, give that a wipe, and that's going to be ready for our wraps. I'm just going to pop that onto one, just so that there's just a real gentle heat going through it. There's still probably enough residual heat in there, but we're just going to pop that in there now and just move that around. You can do that with your hand, and we'll do that on both sides, about a minute each side, just to warm it through, and then we'll build up the first wrap. We're going to fish the eggs out of our sous vide. Just turn that off. So again, that's 63 degrees centigrade that we cook these at. You can figure out what that is in Fahrenheit if you're over in the States. So, got our eggs. Let's move this so you can see a bit better. We're just going to crack the edge of it. It's a bit hot, but it's not too hot, so you'll be fine. And we're just going to open it out as like this, so you can see this perfect little egg in here, and then just tip it out. And you can see some of the white actually is a bit loose. So now we're just going to pour a little bit of this butter over the egg, and it's just going to set the edge of it a little bit. And that can just sit in there like that, and just kind of takes on some of that flavour. So this is warm enough now. Let's just turn that off a second. So we warm that up because it's a bit more malleable, and then when you're folding it, it's really good. That egg can sit there for a few minutes like that, it's absolutely fine. So we're going to do some relish with this one. I need some more space really, but what you're going to do. So that's looking good. When you do this wrap, don't take it off the heat too quick because it will cool down quite quickly and then get a bit hard. So you just want to do this part pretty quick. That's why you want to get everything ready. So just a little bit of tomato relish. This is from the guys at Beerenberg over in Australia, which is just, all their relishes are just amazing. So we'll just get one of these sausages, which is quite hot. I'm just going to halve it and then cut it lengthways. And then the same with this one, just one sausage in here. And we're just going to lay it over the bottom, however you want to do it is all good. We'll get a piece of bacon on there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get our egg that's just cooked off ever so slightly in the in that butter. And you just got to be quite careful at this point because the thing will try and fall apart. And then there you go, it just sits on top like that. You can see it's absolutely perfect. And then if you want to get a bit of this butter that's sitting down here and just drizzle a tiny little bit over there, it's not going to hurt at all. So that's that's looking really good. And then we're just going to fold it up. It's already started getting a bit hard and firm. Actually, what we're going to do is, now you've done this, you can kind of see it's all kind of gooey and just delicious and unctuous. And it's not too runny because I don't want it to be yolk running everywhere because I want you to be able to eat it and not just go crazy. So we're just going to fold that over like that. Make sure that's kind of tucked in and then just roll that over like that. And there's one little tortilla wrappy thing, and then we're going to cut that down one side in a minute, but we'll just get that on a plate for the moment and turn the oven off. Pop that on a plate, pop that in the oven to keep warm while we do the other one. Let's do that. A bit of barbecue sauce. And like I said, you can add anything you want in this. You can put mushrooms, you can do it with scrambled eggs, you can, you can do a veggie version if you want to. It's really up to you what you want to do. Different sauces, HP, all that sort of stuff. Again, egg in, drizzle that over. Absolutely awesome. See, what I really want is a camera that goes in closer to this sort of stuff, but we'll get there. That's why, share this around and let's get this channel going, and then we can buy more cameras and get people helping out. So there we go. Just ooze that across everything. Maybe a little smidge more butter. Turn this bastard off now. See, this one's a little bit less pliable because I didn't heat it up as much, but it's still good. And just roll that up. I didn't really fold that particularly well, but never mind. So there we go. Awesome. So once we're at that point, you can just chop it down the middle like this. And there's our beautiful eggy, sausage, bacony, saucy, delicious, gooey egg. It's got the butteriness from the butter that we just poured over the egg. It's sausages are beautiful. Bacon's got that crispy fat, and it's awesome. So yeah, so there we go. And obviously you can make up a load of those and share them around for breakfast with people. Super simple, really customizable depending on what you like, what you don't like. Veggie, non-veggie, brilliant. You can put baked beans in there if you want, hash browns, sausage, bacon, egg, I don't know, all sorts, black pudding, just varies really. So there we go. So there's my awesome little breakfast wrap, super quick, reasonably healthy as well, not too bad. And there we go. Cheers everybody. That was a slightly more efficient, quicker video than the last one I did, which is about an hour and a half long. But hopefully that was useful for you and giving you some ideas to try out. If you try it out, let me know how you go. Post some pics, tag me in it. You just tag Timmy Foodie, like hashtag Timmy Foodie, all one word. And that's Foodie with a Y, everybody, by the way. So yeah, cheers everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Hit me up with a like, subscribe, share this around, get on Facebook, Instagram, tell your mates, and we'll be back with the next video very soon. We're doing a brisket coming up, which is going to be a bit of an experiment, but we'll see how that goes. And then probably do my bangers and mash soon as well, because that's a favourite recipe of mine. And we'll just go from there and see what happens really, and just keep getting these videos up and get this channel going along. So cheers for tuning in everyone, and we'll be back very soon. Bye.